Did you know that in 2023 alone, over 2.5 million people reported being scammed, with a total loss surpassing $3 billion? Yes, you heard it right, $3 billion. This shocking statement isn't meant to scare you, but rather to emphasize the stark reality of the world we live in. Over the past few years, there's been a worrisome upswing in the number of scams reported. What's even more concerning is the increasing sophistication of these scams. No longer are they simple, transparent ploys. Instead, they've evolved into intricate schemes designed to manipulate and deceive the most cautious among us. Scammers are no longer just opportunistic individuals lurking in the shadows of the internet. They are now well-organized, tech-savvy groups that operate with a level of professionalism that rivals legitimate businesses. Their tactics have become so advanced that anyone, regardless of their internet savviness, can fall victim. In the past, scams were often easy to spot. They were filled with glaring errors, and the promises made were too good to be true. But now, scammers use highly sophisticated methods, leveraging technology and psychology to lure their victims into their traps. From phishing emails that mimic your bank's communication to convincing phone calls that impersonate government officials, the range and complexity of scams have drastically increased. As alarming as this may be, it's essential to remember that knowledge is power. By understanding the tactics used by scammers, we can better protect ourselves and our loved ones. The first step is to recognize the seriousness of this issue. Scamming isn't just a minor inconvenience. It's a billion-dollar industry that wreaks havoc on people's lives, causing financial loss and emotional distress. But who are the architects of these scams? What kind of person exploits the trust of others for their own gain? As we unravel the shocking reality of scamming, we'll also delve into the minds of these scammers. Understanding their tactics and motivations can help us become more vigilant and less likely to become their next victim. Now let's dive into the murky world of scammer personalities. Who are these people behind the scams? First up, we have the confidence trickster. This scammer thrives on building trust with their victims. Picture this: a charming individual enters your life, perhaps online or in person. They may seem like a new friend, a helpful business partner, or even a potential love interest. They're charismatic, friendly, and seemingly genuine. Over time, they earn your trust, and that's when the real game begins. Let's consider the infamous case of Frank Abagnale. In his early years, Abagnale posed as a Pan Am pilot, a doctor, and a legal prosecutor, all to gain the trust of unsuspecting victims. He used these disguises to cash in fraudulent checks worth millions. His charm and apparent authenticity made people believe his tall tales. The confidence trickster uses this trust to their advantage, exploiting it to swindle their victims out of their hard-earned money. Be on your guard. So, remember, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Next, we meet the fearmonger. This scammer uses fear and intimidation to get what they want. Picture this: a woman in her late 60s, let's call her Martha, picks up her phone to a voice claiming to be from the tax office. The voice on the other end warns Martha of a supposed unpaid tax bill that could lead to legal action if not settled immediately. The fearmonger, posing as an authority figure, has Martha in a state of panic. He capitalizes on her fear, pressuring her to pay the imaginary debt with gift cards, of all things. It's absurd when you think about it, but in the grip of fear, rational thinking often takes a back seat. That's the fearmonger's game, exploiting fear to override common sense. Stay vigilant, and remember, real authorities will never ask for sensitive information over the phone or through email. Last, but not least, we have the professional manipulator. This scammer is an expert in manipulation and deceit. Let's delve into a real-life case study that will help us understand the intricate web woven by such fraudsters. Picture this: a woman received an email from a man claiming to be a high-ranking military official stationed overseas. After a few weeks of exchanging emails, he professed his love for her, despite never having met her in person. He convinced her that he wanted to spend the rest of his life with her, but needed financial assistance to secure his leave from the military. Now, you might be thinking, how could someone fall for such an obvious scam? But remember, the professional manipulator is an expert in psychological tricks. They use the art of persuasion, appealing to emotions, and exploiting vulnerabilities. In this case, the scammer used the woman's loneliness and desire for companionship against her. The scammer also employed the technique of reciprocity. He showered her with affection and compliments, making her feel obliged to reciprocate his feelings and eventually his request for financial assistance. He created a false sense of urgency, telling her that he could only secure his leave if she sent the money immediately. Moreover, the scammer used authority, claiming to be a high-ranking military official. We're often taught to respect and trust authority figures, and scammers exploit this to their advantage. The scammer further built credibility by sending her a counterfeit military ID and falsified documents, making his story seem more legitimate. This case study illustrates how professional manipulators weave a web of lies, playing on our emotions and exploiting our vulnerabilities. They're adept at creating believable stories, compelling enough to make us question our instincts. But remember, if something feels off, it probably is. Always be skeptical of unsolicited communications, even if they seem genuine. Be wary of requests for personal information or money, especially from someone you've never met in person. Always be skeptical of unsolicited communications, even if they seem genuine. Scammers come in all shapes and sizes, but they all have one thing in common: they want your money. We've journeyed through the shadowy world of scams today, encountering characters who are both chilling and fascinating in their pursuit of illicit gain. Let's take a moment to revisit these personalities, starting with the confidence trickster. Smooth, charming, and seemingly trustworthy, this scammer uses the art of persuasion to lull you into a false sense of security. They make you believe that they're on your side, only to pull the rug out from under you when you least expect it. Next, we met the fearmonger. This scammer exploits your anxieties and fears, pushing you into making rash decisions. They thrive on creating panic, making you feel as though you need to act immediately to ward off some impending doom. And finally, we came face to face with the professional manipulator. This scammer is a master of psychological tactics, understanding exactly how to twist your emotions and perceptions to their advantage. They're methodical, patient, and alarmingly effective, often leaving their victims none the wiser until it's far too late. Each of these personalities represents a different facet of the scamming world, but they all share a common goal: to separate you from your hard-earned money. It's a sobering reminder that we must always be on our guard, vigilant in protecting ourselves from these cunning predators. In the face of such trickery, it's essential to stay informed about the latest scams and how they operate. Knowledge is power, and it's our first line of defense against these unscrupulous characters. But beyond that, it's equally important to maintain a healthy dose of skepticism. If something seems too good to be true, it probably is. And last, but certainly not least, remember to protect your personal information. Scammers can't victimize you if they don't have access to your sensitive details. Remember, your best defense against scammers is awareness. Subscribe and leave a comment below if you like these type of videos. Let me know if you recently discovered if you or someone you know has been scammed.